My name is Zeina. I was born in Lebanon and grew up between Lebanon and the United States, and my journey, the journey that's been my life, has brought me to Bali, and specifically Ubud, out of this whole entire planet. And this video is about my journey. Born in Lebanon, was a child of war, actually, which is something that I've just been reconnecting with recently, something that somehow we forget about, but we really don't. It stays with us. And then right after the war, that's why it's so significant for me, is that that's actually when my television career, I would say, started at the age of 9, where I used to sing, dance, and host on a TV show, which lasted for about 10 years. And right after that, I just went to the US and studied and worked and lived, and mainly in New York City. And I made that segue from being in front of the camera to becoming more of a television producer, and then eventually a business consultant. Say in 1992, when Lebanon was just straight out of the war, there was this TV show that surfaced. It was the only television show in the country. And there was a bunch of children that the executive producer, who's a visionary, her name is Ilan Malik. I owe her so much actually in my life. I'm so grateful for her. She was pretty much on the hunt to find what she calls talented kids or talented children. And her and I met when I had won a gymnastics championship once, and then she wanted me to come along to the TV show, but my mom was a little bit opposing of that. But then the second time, she saw me at another competition, like a poetry competition, and she told my mom this time she's gonna have to come for an interview at least. So I went for a quick interview, and she asked my mom if I could stay on board of the television show, and miraculously my mom said yes. And then my journey started at the age of 9, where I spent pretty much every Saturday of my life on camera, singing, dancing, hosting, doing so many different things. And the beautiful thing about the show and the experience in itself is that I was able to meet people from all around the world at a very young age. But not only that, just at a country right out of a civil war, where religion can be is or had been a big dividing line. Our crew on that television show was a mix of every religion that you can find in Lebanon, and that was absolutely amazing. And that for me has changed so much and has helped shape me so much, where we celebrated each other's special events, and not to just focus on religion, but truly though, back then, this was a big thing, where in a school you won't find two people from different religions, especially back then, especially in the 90s. So I feel very blessed to have gone through this journey from the age of 9 till the age of 18. I was an intuitive child, creative, just like every child. But then you forget that as you grow, and then at some point, even when you're a child, you're asked about that, your questions, or you're judged about if you say you feel something. But truthfully, looking in retrospect, at the age of 8, I remember very well having a very strong pull to learning the English language. I'm French educated, so I fully just wanted to learn the English language. And I just started picking up on songs and sitcoms. I used to love sitcoms as a child. And just from the subtitles, and eventually I just learned English. There was a feeling that I always had in my heart, where I would end up in the US at some point in my life. It's as if I was preparing for it. And not only that, I actually always felt that I was gonna end up in New York City. Speaking of which, also as a teenager, I would record all these music television shows and music videos and clips and dance to them and keep singing and all of that. And at the age of 20 is when I started working with music television in New York City. So I don't even know how, I don't even know why and how. I feel like there's no why really, it just is. Even looking in retrospect, like I'm unable to analyze it. I'm unable to give it a reason other than it just always has been, and it is. So that's it. So I always had a passion to be on camera, to be on stage, but I've also always loved writing and creating and being practical. So I had this theme always going on in my life. But I would say that there was a defining moment where I just stopped wanting to be on camera, whether it be pictures or video. This is a huge fear for me right now, though I come from over a decade of being on television, including live television and events. So you would think that this is just okay, normal, and you can just pick it up from where you left off. And it actually has taken me quite some time, I would say over 13 or 14 years. A part of me started associating being on camera or being in the spotlight as literally what I used to call it, from myself to myself, an ultimate death, where I just felt like it was more restrictive in a way or another. It was just more restrictive. But the bigger picture of that is that there was a part of me that just wanted to apologize for her success. I started wanting to do less, be less, not be seen anymore. And eventually, I just fully made myself into no longer a camera talent, but more of someone who started managing talent and producing for talent, whether it be in business or in actual overall entertainment. So I humbly love the person that I am today, even with all of my bullshit, even with all of my ups and downs, and with every part of every journey that I've gone through and that I'm still going through. I don't want to pull the whole, I'm grateful for everything card, even though I really truly feel that. Especially recently, I've been connecting with gratitude way more recently, way more. It's everywhere. But I truly feel as though this whole process, again, just like what I was saying earlier, was and is, it's more of like you had to be somewhere to get somewhere else. And this is all look in retrospect, because life is not this linear, but at the same time, just for the sake of reflecting on the journey in a linear way, I would say this whole alchemy, this whole fusion happened with everything, the wounds, the pain, the success, the happiness, the shit, all of it is just one. So no, it's like, even if I do think that I wish that one part of my journey, even the lowest I'd ever been in my life to today, which I'm feeling like I'm crawling sometimes, crawling up sometimes and other times not. This is the human journey at the end of the day. It's my journey, at least. I feel as though it's like you would take a part of my body, like you take an arm away, or that's how it feels like when I do think or feel into the fact that what if this did not happen? What if I just stayed on that path? I really feel that sitting today where I'm at and how I'm feeling with all this gratitude, I feel like my life would have been or would have felt so poor. Yeah. The girl that was on that television show as a teenager just moved to the US, and I've always just done so much. I've always had so much passion about everything that I've done, especially radio, television, and then eventually helping people grow their businesses and their talent or save their businesses. That became my thing. Actually, that became the only thing. So I fully became a workaholic, insomniac, from owning my own companies, then owning my company to help people and their businesses, and people's businesses also helping people with mainly their lives. But the difference, or again, looking back at that, I would say that was the only thing I did, was just see where I can help people change their life. And I never really I didn't even know what it meant to stop and look within. I would never even say this sentence, look within. What are you talking? Would never do that. I'd probably make fun of someone who would tell me that. I was a hardcore, workaholic New Yorker at heart. So I was very hardcore, going at a it's like a rat race, I feel like, just never, ever, ever, ever stop. And I just felt like I could just keep on working 7 days a week, almost, I would say 22, 21-hour days, no joke. My friendships were pretty much, of course I had beautiful friendships, but also there were a lot of other friendships that were just out of, okay, who's out at midnight, you know, after work, because this is the only time that I can actually have a somewhat of a social life or maybe take a break, but I truly just didn't have any personal time. I didn't even know also what that meant, to fully losing myself, and I really mean it, fully losing myself. Things started catching on to me, and my body started talking to me. I started getting sick. And living in a culture, in a place where you just, you know, pop a pill for a headache, pop a pill for a throat ache. It's like, it's okay, it's fine, you know, it's okay, it's fine. And of course, I would say also it's okay, it's fine, until my body really, really, really claimed its voice. And it really shouted one day, and that was after 3 years of me pretty much being borderline depressed, fully had lost my everything. And I remember that it was I think on my 33rd birthday, where I had felt the lowest I'd ever felt in my life. And I was the skinniest that I'd ever been in my life. I was the most tired that I'd ever been in my life. I was the most depressed, but no one really could tell, because I had one of those pains where you don't necessarily look sick. I mean, you can look skinny, but you don't look sick. So people would not necessarily understand that you're going through something, not that I would want to, but it was what I'm trying to say or to highlight is that it really felt like a very, very lonely, dark time. There's always been in my heart this light. There's always been in my heart, same that I had spoken about earlier with, you know, at the age of 8 with the intuition. There's always this light burning in my heart that's always told me that there's something else, there's something bigger. I felt maybe lonely sometimes in my life, meaning I didn't have someone to necessarily really explain this to, but I always felt presence, I always felt support. And well, back then, especially going between someone who's an agnostic and a believer, that's what I was, that was the dance that I used to go through in my life, to not even having time to think about that. I just fully felt like there was a light at the end of the tunnel in the darkest moments that I ever felt. I don't know what it was. I didn't know when. It didn't make me hopeful. It was like, oh yeah, there's a light at the end. No, it wasn't like that. It was just faith. And I think since the very early age as a child, this was probably the first time that I had connected with real faith without necessarily knowing it consciously. I had no idea. But that faith, that surrender where I didn't even call it surrender, I just did it. I felt like I was, you know what, that's it. I remember very well that little shimmer of faith that I had was when I spoke to one of the doctors who had misdiagnosed what I had, and I was told that I needed surgery, actually, that I never needed. I remember very well saying, you know what, I'm no longer taking this medicine. I will no longer take this pill, because they were trying to get me to take another brand of the same pill that my whole body was getting allergic to, and it was putting me in a huge, huge, huge depression, even more than the state that I was in. I remember very well saying, no, thank you. And then all of a sudden on that same day, a friend showed up, asked me what I was doing, and I was writing in a journal about some idea that I had for workshops where I can, you know, be holding circles and I could see beaches and nature, but I thought it was a different area. So when that person came and asked me, what is it that you're doing? All of a sudden I just handed her my journal. I mean, I wouldn't typically do that. Just like, here it is. And she read it, and then she told me that what I wrote reminds her of a program that already exists. So I just logged online right there and then, and I looked up this program, and it's called Unsettled. And the whole Unsettled platform is actually for digital nomads or people who have just kind of had it and they want to try to live like locals, co-work and co-live for 30 days in a city, any city in the world. And something just drew me to them. So as soon as I logged on, I said to myself, you know what, I hadn't taken a vacation, a real vacation for myself in so many years. Just logged on to that and saw that the first city they're going to, actually they didn't even mention city, and I saw that the first place they're going to is Bali. And back then, I had no idea. I really mean it. I had no idea what Bali's about. No idea whatsoever. Didn't know a thing. I just started doing some like 10-minute yoga videos from YouTube because it was the only thing that would help me with managing pain, because the pills weren't, so the yoga was. I had done zero meditation in my life. I was the farthest person ever from any of that. But for some reason, it was just the nearest date. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna sign up with them. I'm just gonna sign up with them. So I signed up with them. 2 days later, had a phone call. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Bali. And there I thought I was gonna be at the ocean, probably learning to surf, going out, and had my laptop with me so that I can do more work, of course. I mean, that's the only reality I ever knew. Little did I know is that I ended up in Ubud. That's far from the ocean, in a place where it's filled with healing and yoga and this world that I'd never even known about. And then I stumbled upon the yoga barn, and I stumbled upon healers. I actually stumbled upon myself that day I walked into this place, and I had no idea. Let me tell you, in 3 days I dropped my clients. In 3 days, I quit cigarettes. In 3 days, I made a decision that I realized it was in the making, but I really didn't know that I was about to make it, because I just thought I was going on vacation where I was just gonna be working. And I owe it all to a bottle of lotion that exploded on the second day, actually, on the second day of my arrival to Ubud, where the bottle of lotion just blew up in the backpack. And I would never put a bottle of lotion with that, but that day was a very special day. And that bottle of lotion actually decided to blow up, and it ruined my laptop. And then it's like a domino effect. Just that happened, and I have no idea. I mean, now I do, but just even looking in retrospect, I can't even tell myself what happened. I just knew it happened. And my entire life fully changed, and it's ever changing. I mean, now I realize that life is ever changing, but it's not about also realizing it. I actually feel it. It's ever changing. But for even me to say this word now, to have this much awareness of what's going on, even when I mess up, and even when, it's a human journey and all of that, just even for me to say this is what I meant when I was talking about gratitude. Just now, just me saying this just really made me feel this gratitude again, where I just want to break down on this floor and say thank you. Thank you. I believe in a fully expansive, I don't want to say universe. I feel like it's way bigger than what we can ever imagine. And bigger is not, actually, let me say that again. It's as big as we can imagine, because I absolutely love imagination. One of my closest mentors, one of the people who have fully helped shape my life, is the creator of shamanic breathwork, Linda Starwolf. And she does say that imagination is divinity. Imagination is divine. It's given to us. It's given to us. It's divine. It's our connection to anything. What you can imagine, you can create in your reality. And I'm gonna speak for myself, what I can imagine. I believe that I can create in my reality. And I'm also a big believer in everything that's on the outside started with the inside. There's this whole, it's become more of like I feel like a movement of spirituality. I want to be more spiritual, and also with the teachings of Linda Starwolf, when she speaks about being more spiritual, she does say that And I fully feel what she says in that. And I'd love, and it's been actually one of my biggest pillars, is that she doesn't even believe that we can be even more spiritual, right? Because we're a spirit and having a physical experience. And so we already are spiritual beings, but we're having an experience on planet Earth. We're having this experience in our body. So I feel that my entire journey, the whole journey that I've just been walking through with the linear thinking, with just the workaholism, the insomnia, and all of that, was just me escaping my body, was me not allowing myself to digest the emotions, to digest the pain, to be kind to myself, and understand that we're given the ability to fuck up, so we do. If it wasn't a function, it wouldn't exist. At least that's my belief. And so what I would say is that God has given us this body, this temple, and we're spirit in this body. And the beauty of it is actually celebrating both. It's celebrating the body and the spirit that we are, this temple that we were given for one lifetime. I hate that we're divided. I absolutely hate that we're divided. And I really, really mean it. It annoys the hell out of me, because I love humanity, and I'm not trying to say that I love everyone, right? We're human, so that's not the part that I'm talking about. I love humanity, I love our humanness, I love our existence, I love the richness that's been given to us, the life to celebrate, the laughter, the cries, the everything. I absolutely love it. But I hate the division, and I hate the disconnect that I feel we are automatically born into, whether it be from conditioning. You should do this, you can't do that. You're a woman, you should do this. You're a man, you should do that. This whole factory-like. In each society, sometimes in neighborhoods, sometimes in families, there's just little units. And I get that. It's great for, again, the linear living. So we say chopping wood and carrying water for the day-to-day living. I get that. But when I look at the bigger picture and I say that I had to go through so many years to really just reclaim myself, as in say, you know what? To hell with everything. This is me. This is me. And for me to be able to step into that, I had to start fully asking to remember, who am I? Before the shit, before the scripts, before he told me this and she told me that, and I got tapped on the hand by doing this, and I was looked, down upon for doing that. Who am I? Where am I? What do I want? Do I really need to be asking these questions? Are these questions relatively new? I post things on Facebook, like, here's shamanic breathwork, shamanic astrology, and dream growing, and imaginauts, and life purpose, and life dream. I mean, these are not promotions. These are actual, this is my life. It's my life, and it's ever growing in this journey of, though the words might be grand, or it might be something like, oh, this is a specialty. It's not really a specialty. It's my life. And coming into my body again and starting and actually asking to remember, all these things started opening, and all these methods, these very ancient methods, started coming into my life and have fully helped me start remember and get closer to who I truly am, the I am who the child knew, but then had to forget out of so much, out of fear, out of so much. My heart mission is in remembrance, and my heart mission to dream the dream onward, which is something that astrology is based on, and it's actually one of the practices that I absolutely love. And even if I do say the word astrology in front of many of my friends, or many of the people that I know, they look at me like, do you believe in that? Though astrology came to me as more of like, oh my God, I feel like there's a universe out there, and how does this affect me? And I don't know, there was a strong pull for me to start studying astrology. But then when I realized that it doesn't matter, that very faith, that very suggestion of then there's something or someone that's way bigger than me, actually, instead of it having me look without, it made me look within. And that is when this whole correlation, this whole oneness that I see, meaning that I feel, has fully opened. I can't even tell you what kind of world to me that I'm realizing more and more that it's always been mine, and it's actually all ours. It's not really a world, it's everything. And yes, there's life purpose, and yes, each one of us is unique. Yes, there's oneness, but there's uniqueness. There's our contribution to the world. There's our contribution through this physical body, through this physical experience. Yes, I believe in that. I believe in it. The power of breath work, the power of shamanic breath work for me as well. I mean, to even think about the very simple method of a cyclical breath and the suggestion of letting go, allowing your unconscious to just rise up and be seen by you, where you don't have to take anything. There's no plant medicine, there's no preparation, there's not necessary, there's really nothing. There's just you laying down and breathing in a cyclical way, where you're taking yourself where you need to go as a healing modality. After being a person who was misdiagnosed for so many things, I'm just like a pill popper, take this for that, take this for that, do this for that, just anything about numbing, fully numbing, to actually fully opening and understanding that the healing is not in the numbing, is not in just like, oh, I don't want to see it, I'll shut it away. It's in the open, it's actually seeing it, it's open. But just that very strength, that very healing that happens from the wound, from the pain itself, is what shamanic breathwork taught me. Is what the power of breath, this ancient method, helped me remember, helped me reclaim, and it still is. And now is also part of what I'm contributing to self and society. It's helping me say, this is me, this is how I'm showing up today. This is who I am today. That is a big one. This is who I am today. This is who I am now, understanding that today, this evening might be different than today, however I'm feeling right now. That being human is not this one face, this one sculpture of like, I'm always happy, I'm always great, I'm always motivated, I can always do so much, you know. All of the unhuman things that we're taught that are human is actually realizing the opposite. Is that being human is damn messy. Is damn messy. Imagine I had to go through astrology in the without to come back to this. I'm messy. I feel like my family is in denial about where I'm at in my life right now, mostly because it's so hard to explain what I do. You know, hi, I help people breathe cyclically so that they go into altered state of consciousness, and then some people can throw up, some people dance, some people scream, some people have memories, people get downloads, all these things. Be like, look at you, and you're like, sure, okay, whatever. So I stick to saying I teach meditation and yoga because that's just kind of more of like the you know, more of a simple way to put it. And my heart wish is for my family to actually be here so that they would be able to connect a little bit more to what it is that I actually do. They trust me, they always have that faith in me, in everything, in whatever it is, whether it be light or dark. I've always had a solid family, and my family is my everything. They're my everything. They're my everything. Like I don't even have the words when it comes to mom and dad and my brothers. They're my everything. And having their support, this solid support, through the rockiness of my being has been everything for me. I'm so thankful that today I'm actually able to, after over a decade, to be on camera again, to actually explore this journey within and without, and possibly share just a glimpse of what I cannot put to words starting today, whether it be from questions, whether it be from me asking myself and answering, most likely. I'm just in awe for all the things and all the opportunities and all the people and all the friends and all the emotions and all the modalities and all the healing and all everything that I've been able to surrender into, to be able to actually share it through the camera, through a word, through a journey, through sound, through the senses. I don't even know. So this today for me is